Who wants to ride a sled with stock graphics? Not us. Use SledSend 4 for 20% off a discount on Arctic FX graphics. They'll bring your vision to life with hundreds of designs and endless customization options. Your sled will stand out whether you're on the trail or in the backcountry. So hit the link in the description and customize your wrap and use SledSend 4 for 20% off at checkout.
Well, SledSend listeners, welcome back to the next episode of the SledSend podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, check out some of the links in the description. A bunch of discount codes in there for you guys. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into this episode. So we've got one of our athletes, Kobe, on with us.
Hello.
And then we've got two guys that, I mean, kind of know how to ride sleds, I guess you would say a little bit. Yeah, right? So we got Kyle Pulsifer and Andy Thomas. Boys, what's up?
Good to be here.
Not much.
Thank you for jumping on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
A little schedule conflict yesterday, but hey, we're here.
Well,
Made it happen.
You'd think in my home state I wouldn't be the one that typed in the wrong Haydays grass drags and drove completely the wrong way to
An
get
extra
here.
hour the completely wrong direction.
Yeah, I did that.
Well, that kind of sounds like you, though.
Oh, no. I've done it before, but you'd think here I'd maybe know my home ground a little bit better. But yeah, so we drove from like the center of the cities all the way to the western side of the cities instead of to the northern side of the cities, and then looped all the way back around, just avoiding traffic, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
Just avoiding traffic, you know. You seem thrilled with his driving, eh?
Well, I was driving my own car and he calls me. He's like, so he left before me. He's like, so how close are you? I'm like, I'm like 20 minutes. He's like, I'm about an hour.
Not good.
And
Not good.
You boys were playing some Top Golf yesterday with Polaris?
Yeah, we had a little Top Golf competition. How did that go, Kyle? Who won?
We didn't. Did we keep score?
I think so. Who won?
The last real golf competition we did, not at the local
think
driving
so.
range. Actually, the reigning champions, me, Cole Thomas, and Darren Headland, put the smack down on Keith, Andy, and Sam. So it felt pretty good. I'll probably live with that one forever. It might be the last time I ever play golf in my life, just so I can end on a good note.
First and last time.
It's all my first time golfing, and I
It's all
smoked 'em.
relative.
Yeah. What was up with you letting Brant? Didn't he beat you in the 5K?
Oh,
what
my
the heck?
God.
The dude's a gazelle.
So
That dude's a gazelle.
he is a gazelle. And to be fair, we went out the night before. And we shouldn't have gone out, but we did. And that was kind of like how you had to qualify for this 5K, was you had to go out and have like a 4-drink minimum, you know? Well, Brant stayed home. He stayed home.
Yeah.
So we go to sleep late, wake up early, we go. I led like half of this 5K, sprinting. I was straight up sprinting. And Brant is right next to me, just like kind of galloping a little bit, like a nice stride.
Kind
And I'm
of
like
galloping.
full on sprinting, like as hard as I can go. And meanwhile, there's this lady that runs marathons, and she's checking her watch, and I'm like, what's our pace? How far have we gone? She's like, well, we just hit 1 mile at 6:03. And I'm like, oh no, that's a little hot. That's a little hot for me. So,
Better cool her down.
yeah, about the last mile, I just started coming back, and I wanted a trophy so bad. I just wanted a trophy,
sure.
and I ended up getting 4th. So
My point of
No
view on
trophy.
this race is I'm like, so I haven't done any running races, nothing since I wrecked my knee a couple years ago.
yeah.
So this was like my first summer I've had where I've actually, it's still not 100%, but it's good enough. And same thing, we went to the bar for the 4-drink minimum, and the next morning trying to figure it out, we're like, why did we do that to ourselves? Anyway, we get to the race and trying to stretch out a little bit, and all, like we were still talking, and all of a sudden the race starts.
Boom, the gun goes out.
I'm kind of like, I take off running, and all of a sudden I see like Andy and Chris out in the grass taking everyone into turn 1. And like, then we hit this next straightaway, and there's train tracks that we cross, and I can see up there, like I was like dead last. And I see up there, and Andy and Chris are just in the front, just sprinting. I'm like,
all the way in the lead, and we.
this
started,
is
like,
how this is gonna go. Like this, like so. I'm like, I'll just settle in here, see how it goes, and start cruising. And Sam took off with you guys too. Well, Sam about hole 1 of the golf course. Once we got on the golf course, Sam faded hard, and I pull up alongside him, and we're running together for a little bit, and somebody's like, fading a little bit, huh, Sam? And he's like, no, I was just waiting for Kyle. The next thing you know, I was just waiting for Kyle. I get around the next corner, I look back, Sam's both hands on his knees, like staring at the ground. Keith turned around right there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Keith didn't even finish.
So I get into a pretty good groove, and it felt fine. I'm still seeing these guys. I got them out there, and I'm like, they are
I got them out there.
And, like, there's 3 people in front of me. There would have been 7 people in front of me. There was these 3 with that marathon runner girl that they had no business, I think, running with, but somehow they did it. And there's these 3 guys that I was just eyeing up the whole race. And I'm like, I'm going to get them. I'm going to come in on that last, like, quarter mile, and I'm going to get around them. So I was just pacing myself the whole time. And we get to that last little bridge, and then I, like, realize that the finish arch is right there. So I give it what I got. And they must have been booking it there at the end, too, because I couldn't catch them. But so I ended up getting 8th. But it was pretty funny afterwards how sore everyone was. And, I don't know if you guys saw his Instagram story of Cole not being able to get off the airplane.
Oh, yeah. He was like wobbling.
He was like literally wobbling. But I could not walk. It was hilarious.
It was a good time.
Yeah. Nice.
Hey, you guys like running way more than I do.
Yeah, dude. I
don't know if we like it.
It
just
running.
You like the competition.
It was the competition.
It was full on just like trying to make the other guy look like we were better than them. And Brant made us all look dumb.
Well, like everybody, Brant posted on his Instagram, whatever, that he had won the 5K, and everybody's like, making those kids look silly. And it's like, do you realize how capable he is? Like, you look up his 5K time, that's like straight up elite status.
Yeah.
Like,
you're fast.
Like, you're kind of like slouching on him, calling him the old guy for beating the young guy, but like, he's a beast. No matter what his age is, like, he's fast.
He's a billy goat. Dude,
Yeah.
Them hunters, their legs.
They don't quit.
No, they never do. Doesn't matter their age either.
Yeah.
Well, he's got red hair and he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah. He's got the speed going for him. He's almost like considered a cheetah, I think. Something in that category.
I agree.
Yeah. He's like, oh, shit. I want to talk about the Polaris model year 25 sleds a little bit and get your guys' take on that. So I got to spend a day with you and all the other ambassadors there. And obviously you guys are very aware of what all Polaris has going on and stuff. But what were your guys' like initial thoughts with these new sleds this year?
I thought it was awesome. Like, we obviously didn't reinvent the wheel at all, but like refined a bunch of the details, cut some weight where it was very easily to be cut. Like, the headlight was an awesome improvement. Like, that's not a very functional tool for mountain riders. And like, with just as well, like, if we can make it lighter, let's make it lighter. And the running boards, the new design on the running boards, shed snow, same like feel. That's the biggest thing I like. We have a platform that I don't feel like
It's really good.
Yeah, we don't want to screw it up. That's the thing now. Like,
Right.
we're not searching for things so much. We're just like fine tuning kind of what we have. And I think there was quite a few steps in that direction with those little things.
Yeah, for sure. And then the thing we've all been waiting for, the all-day control throttle, We've been needing that for a long time.
Yeah. Well, they started working on that in 21.
I mean,
It was before then
that's what
even.
was it?
Yeah.
it's been on their mind for
In
a
the
long
process.
time.
Yeah.
So for that to be on the snowmobile now, and I don't know if you guys have rode one, they actually feel like more sturdy. They feel better.
really like
on
them.
top of not,
Yeah.
they're not going to freeze and they're not going to have cruise control. Like they feel good.
Love
So,
that. Love the no cruise control.
yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's nice to like.
I was
clean
like,
your goggles.
sometimes it is kind of nice
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then another thing I want to talk about is this 900 factory boost that you had,
The weapon.
dude. So what all?
It's a big
What was
weapon.
speak or whatever you can or can't say, but speak on your guys' involvement on behind the scenes of what went into producing that.
So, where should we start with that?
Honestly, stuff starts so much earlier than what people really realize.
Sure.
That sled
And-
was supposed to be built 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like
And
it's been on the main guy in charge. It's been on his mind for a while, and he's always thinking and on top of that, we want to be like useful to Polaris, so we do a lot of their testing on our race sleds for products that they want to put out, and kind of durability testing, see if they work and see how things are going to go.
yeah, it's a really good testament to be able to still make some small changes and stuff like that. But like, as far as that engine package and stuff, like, we had been testing that for a couple years in like different backcountry applications and stuff, and then it gets a ton of dyno time. And honestly, like the year before on their 9 mods, those were rock solid, and there was some changes for last year's engines, and they literally came out of the dyno room. And I remember last year, our first day on the snow, like there was not a single discussion about how the sled ran. And at the end of the day, that the engineers asked, what do you think about how the sled ran? And that they were like Keith and Andy both were like, well, I guess it ran fine. Like that wasn't even part of the problem.
Fine.
Like that's how dialed in that stuff can kind of come.
It was crazy. They gave it to us. We went out on the hill and we worked on suspension all day.
Yeah.
And then like this is a motor that they just threw in, and we're like instantly go right to suspension.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Power, like they can build so much power that like there is a lot of different, like more so just trying to build a rideable power. Like if you wanted to go build X amount of horsepower, that's all possible. But like you can only go so fast on a rim shot course. It's more so about how the delivery is and how rideable it is, and like
Transfer.
from
low
the
to
transfer high. And being able to ride it and being able to turn the sled. Like there is an amount of power where if it comes in too slow, you're not going to be able to turn because you need to spin the track every once in a while. And so finding that fine line of building something that's not so rowdy where you can't ride it, but something that isn't too sluggish at the same time, which is kind of like a characteristic of a turbo sled.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of times I come down and like me and Keith will go in the trailer with no one else and we'll be like, I think we should turn it down. Pretty gnarly. And we'll go
I think we should turn it down. It's pretty gnarly.
Our sleds are so similar, Keith and I's. Like we like to ride a lot of the same, so and we feel a lot of the same things. So he'll either come in my trailer or I'll go in his and we'll be like, man, what do you think? Like this and that. But a common conversation is like, it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well,
you think it's too fast?
You think it's too
It was kind of fun towards the end of the year at in Utah at our Beaver Mountain race. Andy did the Dash for Cash, which is just a drag race, 8-wide drag race from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill. And Andy's like, can you put an extra pound of boost in my sled? And I'm like, sure, yeah. So we put the boost in his sled. And like before
Did you tell Keith that or do it without telling him?
Before the next race, we were testing again. We were testing in Montana. And Keith was like, they were switching sleds back and forth. And Keith's like, he comes over to me. He's like, is Andy's sled different than mine? And I'm like, no. And then it kind of hit me. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. And I'm like, I don't know. Go ride it again and see what you think. And he comes back. He's like, it almost feels like it has a little more boost. It pulls a little harder on the big end. And I'm like, do you want it too? He's like, well, if Andy has it. So it's kind of like, it wouldn't matter. Right? Like you could put 30 pounds at it. And if Andy's got another pound, Keith's going to be like, well, why does Andy have an extra pound?
He's definitely going to think about why do I have it and he doesn't. And if he needs it. It's pretty funny.
If he needs it.
Yeah.
That is funny.
But it's funny even amongst like the rest of the racers that are kind of on their setups. Like a lot of the stuff they're doing is for the whole team. And then it kind of trickles itself. But they're so efficient and they're such good testers that like if the cow works for them, it's going to work for everyone. And it's just like the best way that we've found to dial everything in. And then when it goes to the rest of the guys, they're like, well, I think, can we turn the boost up? Can we turn the boost up?
They always want more.
King of
They always want more.
The King titles this weekend didn't come from more boost, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there, but it's always a fun, just the strategy and how involved everybody gets in worrying about what somebody else has.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Obviously.
What's your guys' favorite parts of building your race sleds?
Hey, what's up, guys? We're here at Haydays, and I'm standing here with Dayton from Albany Lodge, and he's going to tell you a little bit about what they have to offer.
Hey guys, so we're a certified Polaris Adventures outfitter located in Albany, Wyoming. We have 13 cabins and 9 hotel rooms. We offer a fleet of sleds in the winter for rent as well as in the summer of side-by-sides. If you guys are looking to do something a little bit different, we offer guiding, fishing guides, all of the above. At the end of the day, get dirty, get tired, stop in the bar and grab a drink, get bites to eat, have a good time.
Heck yeah, and be sure to use SledSend 4 for 15% off the lodging and their entire rental fleet, whether you're here for the winter to ride sleds or in the summer for side-by-side.
Oh man, I'll go first. I don't love building my race sleds. I love riding them. I love being in the shop. We have a dartboard. I like hanging out with my friends, all of that.
Yeah.
I do not love working on them. Kyle likes working on them. He enjoys the accomplishment at the end and
Sure.
how it feels, but probably the wraps. I like putting the wraps on.
He's like, look good, feel good. That's
Yeah.
where I'm at.
You should.
See,
you
for,
should-
for me, the wraps are like the least important thing. Like I love the, don't get me wrong. Like
We got the perfect guys to work with.
a
each
wrap
other.
can make or break a sled, and it's a totally like worthy attribute to a snowmobile. Like it can make them pop for
Yeah,
sure.
agreed.
But like for me, like just the functionality and the way a sled's put together, and knowing that every bolt's torqued perfectly, every wire's routed identical,
Yeah.
every zip tie's zipped the same direction, everything on the sled mechanically is perfectly tight, and like you're greasing all the bushings and doing all that stuff, and so like that's like where Andy's a little bit different in that way. He doesn't care about those things. So, like,
Sometimes I just put the lines where I want to put them, and he comes in and he's like, "Why is your oil line ran right there?" I'm like, "That's speed, dude.
That's speed.
Custom."
That's custom.
And then he rides it, and he's like, "This sled's sweet." I'm like, "It's because of the oil line."
yeah, it's that oil line. I'm like, that is not where we route that oil
that is
line.
not how we put
That
it.
is- But so like last year, those new mods that you saw Keith and Andy on, I spent 3 weeks up in Rosso helping work on those, and it was pretty cool. Like you're talking about the favorite sled builds you ever done, so I got to do that right down in the engineering and development end at Polaris. So like full access to all their tools and like all their fabricating equipment.
I bet you were geeking out.
Oh, it was so cool because like an idea there, it's not like you grab the grinder and drill and a vise and a hammer and try to like form this part and see if it works. Like there, you can like form parts that are just like beautiful machined pieces. And it's not so much like there isn't so many stages and steps to it, because then even on this at the same time, like if you're working on the intake, like they have the 3D printers nowadays are so cool. Like they can 3D print parts before we have to like build them for real, just for fitment and for function, and just see all those things come together with the tools that are available now is really cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool parts to it.
Yeah, heck yeah. I could only imagine.
Not to change the topic again too much, but you were talking about the wraps, and I was going to call you out, and you should ask them for advice on that one piece on the sides of the tunnels.
The long piece.
Yeah, that's the most challenging part. And we were.
How do you get that thing perfect, dude?
So we were building them. I had already wrapped 3 or 4 for the season last season, and he was still down in California, so he got there late for the build process. And you were on the one side for, I don't
Probably
know,
an hour?
15.
I don't fucking know.
And
Sorry.
and
Bleep that one out, Jeff. I don't like wraps, dude. I'm opposite. I like working on the motor side of things.
Yeah.
Wraps,
Yeah.
I hate wraps.
Do you have any advice on
So,
applying that?
are you riding Polarises?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, up in the front where there's that extra rivet that comes out, or the rib that
The
comes out of
little
the
U-hook or
aluminum.
whatever
Yeah.
from the
I
foot
try to
loop.
line that up, and then I line the bottom of the sticker up first, like right above the rivets on the running board, and then I just send it.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
what. That's what he.
Yeah, so he was messing with it for a minute, and I walked over and I grabbed it, and it's just, I don't know, that's where I start too, and then you're like trying to get the angle at the back while
Trying to
keeping
get
your
it
hands off the
under
sticky
there.
and get it,
Yeah.
and then I just grabbed it and I put it on, and it was probably the best one I did, and that was pure luck.
Yeah.
Within
Yeah.
like 15 seconds, he sticks it, and I'm like, perfect. You're the wrap guy.
Yeah.
There
But-
is a fine line. Like some guys, like Dan Adams sleds, perfect.
Okay.
Like every line
Insanely
is
perfect.
My sleds, not so much, but I mean,
My
people don't
sleds,
walk
I
up
I mean,
and
they
they're
all
like,
look good from
Andy's- yeah,
afar,
yeah,
you know. So
from like 10 feet, it's fine.
Yeah, and depending on the wrap, like most of the time, you know what I mean. You can't really tell at all the lines that don't match up perfectly
Exactly.
or
You
something.
can't
It's
unless you really look close.
I'll lose sleep over that stuff at night.
Yeah, well,
Really?
that's probably why you don't sleep.
like probably why you don't sleep.
I do. I definitely have a pretty severe OCD on snowmobile. And it is snowmobiles, just mainly. I don't know. It's been an evolution of like working on snowmobiles. I've been doing it since I was 12 years old,
Yeah.
but just like I don't know. There's no like I get on somebody else's snowmobile and there's like one thing that's loose or a little bit crooked or like one thing that
to
isn't
start
quite right,
tuning.
and I'm like I'm gonna tear this thing apart on the side of the mountain. This is driving me nuts. And it's not even my snowmobile. I should just get back online and be on with my
Driving
day.
me nuts.
Is Brent kind of like that too? I've heard he's like super
Very.
meticulous.
Like,
so I'm
so-
sure that he probably likes the fact that you're like that.
Oh,
when
he
you were-
totally put a lot of that into me, I would
Okay.
say. Because, like, before I come out of high school and my truck was a mess. This is a totally different example. But, like, for the most part, I'd
truck
I'd
was a
hop in my
mess.
truck. My stuff would be in the back seat if I needed it. And, like, first time I go riding with him, or like we're gonna go riding for the first time, he gets in my truck, we hook up to the trailer, and he looks in the back seat. And he's like, "What is that?" And there's like a empty water bottle in the door rattling, and he's like, "When did you finish this? Why didn't you throw it away?" I'm like, "You're in my truck." Like, what's? But
Quit interrogating me.
That amount of the detail, like him, like seriously, he's like the type of guy, like when he washes a truck, it's not like a quick rinse down. It's every product's out. You're gonna wipe the windows down.
It's every product.
Clean the mirrors, everything. And then on sled builds, same thing. He brought me into that world. Like I had been working on sleds quite a bit by myself, but especially when they're going to customers, people say like work on it like it's your own. And I'm like, when I work on stuff that's my own, I'm nowhere near as concerned as I am when I'm working on other people's stuff. Because if something come apart, or I just don't want that reputation, or to like, you could cost somebody a race or a bad day on the mountain, anything like that. So just like the routing and all like the little details with that, a lot of that for me has come from Barant. But now it's not even like I'm trying to like do it for Barant. It's more so like it just would bother me too. Like he totally put it in my brain. It's not just his ideas, it's like something that I do care about.
Yeah,
you know.
Sure.
And I don't know. It definitely there's certain things that you spend way more time on that is a waste of time. I do agree, but it makes me sleep at night. So
yeah, if you're gonna put your time into it, you might as well do it right.
Might as well do it right. Yeah,
exactly.
So something kind of random, and the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because it's been brought up amongst the SledSend team and then on the podcast and stuff. So racing RMSHA and this whole concept of thumb throttle versus finger throttle, and then stock bars versus aftermarket bars. And that is an argument that gets brought up, like people that are contemplating doing that, and they say, well, Andy doesn't use aftermarket bars racing, or, you know, or the finger throttle really. So what's your guys' like reasoning and take on
that? I've rode a finger throttle a little bit, like up the trail, instant arm pump.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So quick.
I hate it too, dude. I was like 20 seconds in a meadow, and I'm like,
give me my sled back.
I'm gonna fall off, or something's gonna happen. I'm gonna cramp, and then we're gonna not be able to let go.
Yeah, I've had some bad experiences and been around some bad experiences of people having accidents on them.
Yeah.
And then also like the ski poles in the branches, like when you're pulling a sled out alongside a tree and you're ski pulling and you pull that handlebar into the tree and pin the throttle.
That's exactly what we did.
Like it's a thing that I just don't know why it's necessary. It's like, why are we if somebody has hand issues or there's something there that it makes sense for, but as far as like to switch over from a perfectly normal throttle, I don't understand it. And the handlebars thing is a comfort thing. It's what I'm used to. It's what
Have you guys tried aftermarket to race and just
I like those pro taper. Well, the problem for me is I race stock sleds and mod sleds, and I want everything to feel the same.
Sure.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't like switching. I want everything to feel like the same snowmobile. So I like the low pro tapers. I haven't really rode anything else.
Gotcha.
Do you go through a couple sets of those, or do you swap them out?
Not really.
When I run the pro tapers, I bend them all the time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Are you a
bend them?
Wait, insert Andy's parking lot hero video. Are you a parking lot hero?
Is that what's that, like the tipping over something, slamming
How
on
do
the
you
deal?
bend handlebars in the backcountry?
I think it's probably getting unstuck when I'm by myself. You know what I mean? You pin and wiggle. You're always yanking on your bars. You know, trying to tip it over or something. You're up in the trees.
Yeah,
I'm not that strong.
I just came back from the end of the season and parked it in the shop, and my old man is like, "What in the hell is wrong with your sled?" And I look at it, and my handlebars are like, and I'm like, "Oh God, the little middle bar, you know, is like this or something." And so I just was tearing those pro taper bars up.
The thing with the handlebars for me, I do prefer, because I'm a shorter guy, I do prefer the exact same. So Skins used to make the exact same bend of the pro taper bar, but an inch lower.
Okay.
And I really like that. That's what I ran on all my backcountry. So it had the same feel, it was just lower.
Sure.
But with racing, same thing. I race a stock class, and it is a totally different feel going back and forth. So now, same thing. I run the low pro taper and deal with it. I actually do cut 5/8 of an inch off of each end of them to narrow them.
Yeah.
And that is an option from Polaris. You can order that bar as an accessory.
Okay.
So either order the bar or cut them down to the same deal. But that's like my preferred bar now. And I don't know, it isn't a huge difference or anything. It's a little different feel, but
a little different. Yeah. I also like roll my hand under and use my fingers on the thumb throttle a lot.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
like especially like inside corners, I'll like roll under and stay pinned, and then roll back, and you can stay pinned.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've noticed that on trails before when you're on tight corner. Dude, I'm a trail racing mother. Let me tell you.
tell them what you did to your track in Wyoming.
Probably not supposed to say that.
You're doing 80 down the trail.
Well, they can tell us if we need to edit it out or not. But
yeah,
The
dude,
3 1/4?
I went all
Yeah.
season and I never went fast. I kept it under 50 the whole time. I mean, you hit 50 and it like red lights come on or whatever. But we had a long day on the mountain and we had a couple sodas and some guy with like an SLP stage 2 on his comes up and just boom smokes me and I'm like no, not if I think so. So I tear off. I'm headed after him, dude. I'm just like, I'm hunkered down and all of a sudden something black is like poof, like 100, 200 yards in front of me and I'm like, whoa, what was that? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just like 8350 bouncing off. Poof, another black thing and I'm like, what was that? And all of a sudden I heard like something in my tunnel and I'm like, it was a heck of a snow clod. Third black thing, boof, and finally I
How
stopped.
many signs did you need?
Three signs, and I'm
How bad
like,
was it vibrating?
I don't know. I wasn't worried about the vibration. I was worried about winning the race. and so then I finally pull over and take a look back there, and I'm like, oh, no, I just ruined my track. I should have listened to him. I should have freaking listened. So I proved that.
Proved him right.
Yeah, proved him right.
So I asked your brother this question last year when I had him on an episode. How do you boys deal with like the butterflies and the nerves before your turn's up and you got to race up the hill? What do you guys do? Do you get butterflies super bad, or how does that?
No, I do, and it's different for each race. But
Okay.
I try to I remember that I'm good. That's what I try to do, is remember that I'm deserve to be there. And I'll watch some film too. I have a few of my favorite videos from racing, and I'll watch some of that, and because some of the videos I look like I'm going pretty fast, so I'm like, man, I am fast. So just remind myself that I'm good. So that kind of
like the car scene where it's like, I am speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting in there before the race.
No, it's a simple deal, but that's what I do. Just kind of remind yourself, because usually the nerves come from thinking you're gonna do bad.
Yeah,
They're not
walking up to hit a baseball. I'm gonna strike out. I'm gonna strike out. I'm gonna strike out.
Yeah.
You're gonna strike out. I'm gonna hit a home run. Gonna hit a home run. Gonna hit a home run.
Yeah, for sure. So I just a little bit of just remember who I am. Yeah, that helped me a lot.
I usually have gotten into the routine of going and taking a pee before I get on my snowmobile to go up to the starting line. And then I get up to the starting line and I have to pee again, which doesn't make any sense.
It's like 100 feet.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm so nervous. And, you can be anywhere, and you could be your 4th run of the day, and still it's just you're just kind of wound up. And I'm definitely still trying to find the right routine.
Yeah.
Because I struggle really bad. I've rode the backcountry forever. And you ride, even in the mornings, you're super sore, it's super cold out, whatever. And maybe you're not 100% wanting to go ride that day. And once you get on the trail, it starts shaking loose. You get up to the first corner. There's that one hill you can side hill in on the way in, and now you're wound up. You're ready to rock. And I've struggled with that with racing. Once I get done with a run, now I'm jacked and ready to rock.
Yeah.
And my run's over, and it doesn't matter now. But I'm
It doesn't matter
racing
now.
down the braking bumps, coming back down the hill. It's probably should have put some of that energy into going up the hill. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out for sure, how to get jacked on a moment's notice, because I've never done that on a snowmobile. I used to race motocross, and you had 10, 12 laps to figure it out, right? You get a bad start, you're like, all right, let's go, boys, and you can figure it. You can make up some time where
Sure.
RMSHA, if you sleep to the 3rd gate and you lose a 2.5 seconds, that can literally be the difference between 3rd or 16th,
Right.
sometimes. So I don't know. I'm still definitely trying to figure that out. So any suggestions? I've been watching Deegs doing some smelling salts on the starting line. I might have to give that a try.
It's awesome.
He goes, it's awesome. It lights you up.
It does.
Do you guys need a water?
I'm all right.
I'm okay right now.
You okay?
Thanks.
Okay, cool.
Hey, it's Robin Cook with Truck Boss Decks. Just wanted to show off our 8-foot Truck Boss. It's 100% aluminum, made in America. You never have to take it off in the summertime. A year-round use, dry and secure storage underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. And be sure to use SledSend 4 on the website for 5% off to upgrade your adventure with Truck Boss decks.
What has been one of the hardest things with like your guys' race sleds, building wise?
A lot of times it's keeping our tracks together. They're expensive.
Yeah, and time consuming.
What do you guys run for tracks? The Polaris track, or do you guys do aftermarket tracks?
So we run stock tracks. We've been running on our stock sleds. We run that 275, 3.5 inch pitch. So it does work pretty good.
Yeah, then you cut the lug down and put screws in it, obviously. And there's been strategy as far as lug height, like the way you put the screws in, how many screws you put in. There's all of that going on. And then on our mods, we can put whatever we want underneath it that's available. And like there's been a lot of different things we've tried there, cutting different stuff, cutting sides, cutting edges, cutting different things. And then all to go, like you can go to Afton in one weekend with 3 new tracks on your 3 race sleds, and you can come pull your stuff back into the shop and literally take them off.
You need all new tracks.
And you got 2-3 hours of labor into each track on top of the cost of the track and the screws, and
That's time consuming.
it can be tough.
What do you guys like get more of? Shearing a bunch of lugs, or will you rip a line, chunks out?
Mostly lugs.
Mostly lugs,
Tear
because
'em
like
off.
you think about them screws that are 3/4 of the way down the lug. If you hit something that has good traction, it's like trying to poke the tip of that screw out. Well, if the tip of that screw pokes out at all, it's going to tear it. And then
Gotcha.
once the lug's loose, then you're sitting on the jack stand before the race, and same thing is like kind of what happened to you on the trail. The weight of that lug will rip itself off, and you can throw it through your cooler, and there's a lot of stuff.
Bad day.
Yeah, and it's tough because you go to the next race and you'll see like Andy's on a different program than I am with that. Like I'll run tracks for a while, but like for Andy, it's something, and it's something that you have to think about. Like, you're going into the next race. It's like I'm not going to cut any corners. I'm not going to show up for this race just because I didn't take the time to prep a few more tracks and go in on bad equipment. Like I don't want that to be my problem. If you're going to go in and lose by 0.6 of a second, that could have easily been made up by if I would have just taken the time to do a track.
Yeah, it's tough. And if they're not perfect, I'm pretty particular. Like I'm acting like I'm not that particular. I'm pretty particular with my race sleds. Like if my skis are scratched or tracks or anything, I'll put new stuff on. And then it gets to a point where that stuff starts coming out of my own pocket, so it does get expensive and that. But before tracks, I just thought of this. It was when we had before ZRP did their lightweight brake rotor, we were doing a brake rotor, brake pads, and a belt every run.
Quick drive.
Oh my gosh.
That's
I could see
5
it.
a day, 10 a weekend.
Dude, coming in and out of corners,
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
Dragging
you warp them and turn them into cereal bowls. Like I have garbage cans full of brake rotor.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And like last year, even with the good stuff that we have and the air vents that we have now, we tested for probably 13 or 14 days before Jackson. And it was we were sharing a practice sled. We had 2 practice sleds built, and we were sharing them, and it was a set of pads and a rotor every night. And like the pile of scrap metal you come up with, it adds up. It's a lot.
You ain't kidding.
The brake pads are tough, and the brakes, like the rotor. And if you're out practicing and you smoke a rotor and then your brakes don't work very good, it's kind of negative practicing because now you don't have a sled that's working right.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
So when you go to a race and you got to change a track, whatever, how many people you guys got on your crew to help you, I guess?
It depends on, like, if Kyle's racing, then I've got to do it by myself. But if it's at night, or if me and Kyle are changing Cole's track or Tanner's track or something, I mean, we could crank that thing out.
Yeah.
Probably 20 minutes or less.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
For sure.
So do you guys like have a mechanic, or do you guys are your own mechanic?
We're the mechanic.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Which is, I mean, it's probably easiest because it's like
Yeah.
your own sled. You want to be working on it if you're gonna.
Definitely at this point,
Rip
if I
that
got a
thing up the
mechanic,
hill.
I would need to work with them a lot to trust them. And
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
you're ripping this thing up the hill. It's not just
Yeah.
your average sled that you're gonna just go joyride on.
yeah, but my dad is pretty involved.
Gotcha.
He likes putting on rail stiffeners, and he loves cutting the tracks and screwing them and stuff. So we have a big whiteboard in the shop, and on the top it says "Things for Dad if he's bored."
I love that.
And he hates when it gets empty because he gets up early and he likes to work on stuff. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I live in Minnesota, so my family's all from Minnesota, and I'm out in Wyoming all winter. So like last November, I left 4 tracks in my dad's shop before I left because he loves helping too. And my dad doesn't come from snowmobiles, so it's the same thing. Like it'd be more work sometimes to like my dad's a super sharp guy, but like the particular way I do and I fix my stuff and run through my stuff after a race, like it's tough to show him too much of that stuff because he's back and forth. He does come out to all the races and watch and stuff, but so he loves to help, and he's become kind of a track master too. And but still, like at the races and stuff, I actually have been kind of working on taking over the hill climb race team manager position, which includes a ton of the wrenching. And like if Keith has a day where he wants to swap tracks that night or something, that's like part of my job to go help him. And then usually my stuff's last. I'm not working on my stuff till 9 o'clock at night, but that's what I signed up for, and I'm still racing, so that's what I've got to do. But so yeah, like if guys have a rough day or somebody wrecks a sled or something breaks, like we definitely figure out what we need to do and we get them fixed. Like I run with a pretty good stack of parts in my trailer, and we can pretty much, anything from any of our engine packages in all of our classes, or any type of skid failure, any type of snowmobile failure at all. I've got a full bulkhead, all the bulkhead pieces. Like if anything happens, we can fix it. Yeah, we'll have you going.
We could build a snowmobile out of Kyle's trailer.
Yeah. Well, actually, funny story. We had like 4 dedicated full-on days with like the whole engineering team from Polaris to come out and prepare for Jackson this year. And it was like we need to be in Jackson Wednesday morning or something it is. And I think it was Saturday, your brother Cole had his mod, and he was literally like went out and tested it that day, locked everything down, everything felt great, brought it back to the shop to put new belts on it, new pads in it, just kind of do the final thing, top it out with fuel, wipe it down. He goes to put a new belt on it, and his tunnel's kinked right behind his secondary.
Oh, I saw that on stories, I think.
Yeah. So, like, everybody in the shop, there's 20 people in the shop, everybody's just silent. And we're like, oh.
Well, I kept finding more bent pieces.
It was like, this is not good. We're working on a million other things, and, like, we think we're sitting really good. Like, one of the years where we're like, holy smokes, we're looking good. And
we're looking good.
Now it's like,
now we got to build a full 9 mod in the next 5 hours.
So Cole, it has a 650 sled from last year that he wasn't able to sell, a race sled outside. And it's just a stock 650 snowmobile. So it's like we developed that plan. We're like, all right, we're gonna take his 650. So him and Andy and Cole's dad Bob pull the sled in. They start tearing it all down. Well, just then it was probably like 10:30 at night. And they had all the parts tore off that sled, and people were starting to leave. And Cole's like, I'm like, Cole, I'll help you with it. Like he was sweating pretty hard, And he's like, and he had to work. It must have been Sunday because he had to work Monday and Tuesday, so he wasn't really going to get another time to even test this sled that is bolted into an entirely new snowmobile and all this stuff. So I'm like, Cole, I'll help. He's like, let's just do. He's like, well, how much do you want to do tonight? I'm like, well, let's just finish it. So we spent the next, like, in three, well, like, what do you do? Go to bed, and then, you can't sleep, and you wake up in the morning, it's all you're worried about. And he was going to have to go to work. So we just burnt out till about 2, 3 in the morning, and we had the whole sled swapped over and coolant in it and fired it up. And Andy tested it for him that week, and I think, did Cole even get to ride it before Jackson?
I can't remember. He might have taken it up in the field, but
it
was wild. We've done that so many times. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
One of the things that make it fun.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of 37 minutes. Want to respect your guys' time. We got the power hour thing to go to shortly.
Yeah.
So a couple of last minute fire questions. Within the backcountry stuff, what do you guys think is the most underrated mod?
In trouble.
Underrated.
I'm gonna get in trouble, he says.
What do you, I guess that are the most,
so something that so many people overlook the importance of, that is super important to you, that a lot of people say suspension or clutching, because there's so much involved with suspension and clutching that a lot of people don't really understand. So what do you guys feel is the most underrated mod part that people overlook? It's super important to you guys.
It's really bad to ask me this question because my sleds literally stay stock clutching, and
we ride pretty stock snowmobiles.
What do you think? The biggest thing I change, I'm gonna say hood. That's what I change, so I have warm storage and it's a little bit lower center of gravity, but I might get in trouble for saying that.
I could honestly just say setting preload on your suspension and adjusting the limiter strap to where we do. Like, that's the first. I won't, like, if I'm pulling a sled out of a crate and I have to ride it tomorrow, I'm going to pull the limiter strap down and I'm going to adjust the preload on my rear track shock.
And then he's probably going to go ride for like a long time before he changes anything.
Yeah.
We ride, like Keith Curtis, he rides all stock. He puts bags on his sleds and goes.
Yeah.
I guess I do that too. I did a hood on one of my sleds, but the other ones are stock.
Gotcha.
We rip stock.
Yeah.
That's all we do.
Okay. You wanna,
I think from the accessories side, there's definitely a long list of stuff that we won't go into the woods without. Like, that's way, like, as far as modifying my snowmobile, I take the stuff I bring with me in the woods way more seriously than modding my snowmobile.
Like first aid kit, flashlight,
Flashlight, yeah,
tools.
fire starter, extra layer, tools, them little parts that can make you leave a sled overnight, or you can bring it out, stuff that you can break, or like ways to get your sled out of the woods if you do smash an A-arm or something like that.
Yeah. You want to ask them the weird one?
Which one? We've got a bunch of them.
The weird one.
Which one if they brought
What's
anything?
the weirdest?
What's the weirdest thing you guys have ever taken on a snowmobile?
No.
What?
What's the weirdest thing you guys or anybody in your crew has ever brought on a sled trip? Like the weirdest, strangest thing.
I don't know. Like my mind instantly thinks of a tampon because people like put it in the fuel tank to
That's
start fires.
that's what Houston said.
Yeah,
We asked
that's
him
what I
that.
think of.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
We had like
It's
one
not
group.
crazy weird, but
One
kinda
group,
weird.
the guys, they all pack a dildo, and then the first one to get stuck, he has to stick it on his sled. Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It'd be on your sled all day long.
There was a
Why'd you get so red?
at Brant's, there was a couple bottles of Vagisil that got tossed around a lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, you'd stuff it in somebody's handlebar bag or
Yeah.
something
That's
like
funny.
that. I don't know. That's good. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like a super bizarre thing somebody would have with them at lunch that they just pull out. There's one guy
I
that,
take ranch, like a bottle of ranch I take.
yeah, that is true.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I love ranch.
I do
and
too.
I've never done that.
I love ranch as well, but I've never taken a bottle.
I had like this buffalo chicken burrito and a bottle of ranch. Just sits in my handlebar bag.
Fair enough.
Chase Bunting was like that, and he used to work at Brant's. Like, it wasn't about, he'd leave his saw at home over bringing his bottle of hot sauce.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
What is both of you, I guess, probably have one of these craziest story in RMSHA?
Well, I don't know how crazy this is, but I missed the deadline to sign up for a race last year, and I didn't get to race a
they
race
wouldn't let him race.
that I was totally like set up for. Still went to the race and did my job as far as like
you
supporting the hill climb team.
Why'd you miss it? Because you were working on someone's sled, or?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. It like just working on sleds, and I don't know. You get into the role of the season, and there's times where you can sign up for multiple races at a time. And I had thought I signed up for the next 2 races. Well, I signed up for the 2 before that.
Well, they didn't open registration until like a week before it closed, which
Yeah.
they're supposed to open it up sooner. So we had a little bit of a talk, and they wouldn't give in, would they?
No, so that was a bummer. Like,
Sure.
my mom and my dad was hunting, I think, somewhere, but my mom had flight to come out and watch, and I don't know, your sponsors expect things and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and to
And
totally
you want to race.
and I want to race. Like,
Yeah.
it was the race before Jackson too, and then like to totally just drop the ball and forget something as dumb that would take 5 minutes to do. That was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Mine's quick. One day in 2017, I totaled my 6 mod, won 7 stock, so I won a world championship, and then I totaled my 800. So I totaled 2 out of my 3 sleds,
Oh my gosh.
and won a
In the
world
same day?
championship at Jackson.
What a boat of emotions
It
right
was
there,
like
huh?
so up and down. Like I totaled the mod, I came down and I'm like, I'm done. I'm never snowmobiling again.
I'm
And then
done.
I go and win the next class, and then later that day I totaled another snowmobile.
Good
I was
Lord.
funny story. When I was actually there, and I didn't know any of these guys at all at that point. I had just graduated high school, and I was trying to plan this with my buddies to come out and like, let's go to the Jackson Hill climbs, let's watch, and then with zero intention thinking I'd ever be racing it, but let's go out, check out the hill climbs and ride. Everybody bailed on me, so I went and got a Super 8 by myself and watched the hill climbs. And I remember that Sunday morning, it was, you couldn't kick a heel. You couldn't have taken a claw hammer and beat it through that hill. It was ice. It was 50 degrees the night before, and it froze rock solid. Next morning, it was cloudy, and it was like there was I remember watching an Arctic cat roll down the hill, and the tunnel ripped off at the back of the running boards. Like, it was that aggressive. Yeah, pretty rough year. Like I don't think the first person made it over the hill till like 11.
Yeah, I would have made it, but I blew a hole about that big in my mag side piston.
Oh,
it's crazy. Yeah, it was gnarly.
Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode. I appreciate you guys being here and taking the time. We always end every single episode with a question that we have the guests ask the listeners and viewers, and then we cut it up and use it for TikTok and Reels and stuff. So, put you boys on the spot. Is there something that you can think of? Could be RMSHA, could be sleds, backcountry stuff, whatever, that you guys want to ask the listeners and viewers? Their thoughts.
putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
What's your favorite snow tire for your truck?
Oh, that's never been asked.
What's your favorite snow tire for your truck?
Important.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that still looks good. That still looks good.
Yep.
Go. It's your turn.
It's your turn.
Am I gay for driving a Ford?
No.
They both are.
No. That would be a no.
I really can't think.
It can be anything. Just I mean, mechanic wise, race wise, snowmobiles, non-snowmobiles.
Yeah, I'm really drawing a blank.
You have
here.
one?
You could do like a
Okay.
if we can you could ask like what their opinion is on when Polaris is going to release that 900 factory turbo.
Oh, okay.
What do you think's next?
Just to see what they say. Like,
Yeah. I would like to ask the people, I want to hear your time frame and what you think Polaris has coming.
Copy that.
good question. Awesome. Well, cool, boys. Thank you again.
Question.
Huh?
It was your question. It is a good one.
It's all
It is
good.
a good one.
It's all good. Well, cool. Thank you guys again for jumping on. I appreciate it. And SledSend listeners, we will catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate you guys tuning in.